And we're back.
Huzzah.
So, as you descend to the bottom of this tower, the roaring wind that's like ripping through the canyon sort of like dissipates as you reach the bottom. And yeah, you find yourself in a village of small stone huts. And you see a number of the dark-eyed individuals that you now recognize as Shadar-kai moving around between the buildings and sort of regarding you with a degree of curiosity as you walk through. What do you want to do?
Shall we just teleport home then, or?
Well, on one hand, I'd say yes. On the other hand, perhaps we want to bring, see if we can buy something from here. Because if you have an item or whatever, you can teleport more accurately, right?
That's not for the cross-plane teleportation?
Oh. Well, because I was thinking, this village is, is it kind of close to the Raven Queen, or are we just in the middle of nowhere, basically?
Well, considering you have no idea when you talked to the Raven Queen, you don't know. But considering the tower with her most trusted Sorrowsworn is literally right here, that's about as close as you know.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if it was the kind of deal where he closed the door, we go down the stairs, and we look around, and it's basically gone, kind of thing. But no,
no, the tower is still here.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah, because with the plane shift, if I know the name of this place, it can put me there pretty accurately.
Well, shall we? Actually, I don't think we speak the language. I'll just look at one of them. Do you speak common? And then the Nomish, maybe?
I doubt they speak Nomish.
The Shadar-kai that you accost freezes in place. And the poor woman sort of turns towards you and says, "I speak common, yes."
Oh, common. Could you tell us the name of this place?
Sort of looks at you curiously for a moment, and is sort of I suppose so.
That would be very much appreciated.
I guess she sort of says this village is called Broken Hook, but this place is called it doesn't have a name in common, but Farad Exitus?
That is good enough for me, I hope, looking at Elizabeth.
Hey, it's more precise than we had before.
Excellent.
Excellent. Great.
Do you... I give you something. Do you use gold here?
She continues to regard you with this strange look and says, "Yes, we use gold here."
So, okay, well, I guess,
that's
for
the
your
spelling of the thing, by the way.
For your troubles, I guess I'll hand them a silver. I
This
hope
poor
this-
man is probably like, who the fuck?
Yeah,
Thank you for...
The woman holds up her hand and is like, I'm fine. It's okay.
No, take it. It's you. Honestly, this was more help than I expected.
Grim is being so nice this session. Can we talk about this?
I know, is Grim okay?
She takes it in the hope that you'll stop being pushy and go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking, fair.
Yep. Someone's approached you when you don't want to be approached. You're just like, okay, thanks.
Me all the time.
I'm forcing money onto them.
Yeah. Every now and then you're just walking along and there's someone with those little wristbands that they're trying to sell to you, and like you accidentally make eye
Wristbands?
contact, and you're like, ah, shit.
Fool.
Actually,
That's
People
what.
well-
just try to sell you wristbands in England?
Yeah, well, they're like charity things.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah, like little charity
Basically,
things.
you give money to charity, and they give you a crappy plastic wristband as a like. I donated some money.
Yeah,
It's the dumbest thing. Don't worry about it.
yeah, but like you make eye contact with someone doing that, and then you're like, ah, shit. Now I kind of have to, because you feel awkward then just like turning around and leaving.
oh, well, you
Yeah, I
see-
got really good at avoiding that in college because
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone either wants to give you a Bible or sell you something, and I'm like, nope.
No.
I already own a Bible, thanks.
So, the only thing
Okay.
I learned in college and high school was how to navigate crowded corridors,
Yeah.
which I started to get good at because I was skinny.
Anyway,
But yes, well, I guess. Oh, before you head off, could you point us to the nearest shop?
she just sort of like points in a direction as she disappears into the nearby building.
Hey, Grim, maybe we should, not accost more members of this poor village.
Well, like, I'm sure they'll be fine. Like, ooh, they got like questioned by some strangers on the streets. They asked where the shop was and what this place was called. It's not the worst thing that can happen to someone. No.
We also
We should.
don't need to be here, though, so...
Well, now that we know the name of this place, you can get us back here.
If we need to get back here, yes.
Yes. Well, considering the effort it was to be able to get back here, I thought it would be worth it. The shop part, less so, but I'm just kind of curious as to how to. Considering we have, time is weird here. I kind of wanted to see what kind of things they have here. Oh, sorry, hiccups.
In just as a point of reference, in the Shadowfell, time actually flows pretty normally in the Shadowfell.
Okay.
No, it was just in the Raven Queen's quote unquote moment that time was weird.
Well, Grim may have made a mistake. It's fine. Definitely Grim did it on purpose.
Okay, so you approach this building and sort of like push the door open and sort of step inside, and it's about what you'd expect from a small village general store. Sort of it's dimly lit on the inside, and there's like a couple of things on like pallets in the room. And as you sort of like push into the room, there's a fairly short like Shadakai man like sort of standing behind the table, who just sort of like looks up at you and sort of like starts for a moment and sort of says, hello.
Poor
Hello.
people.
We're just having a look what they'll sell in the Shadowfell. We're kind of curious. Never been to a shop in the Shadowfell before.
That's I don't exactly normally get visitors around here.
And,
You must be, I suppose, pilgrims?
well, not quite,
Of other
but
sorts.
we did have business with the Raven Queen, but it's but it wasn't. It was, well, business, not religion.
Grim, just
What?
just quit while you're ahead, yeah?
I think it's like, this is a polite, like questionably young man, woman. I don't know.
It's a man.
It's difficult to identify the age because you don't really know very much about like what Shadakai look like as they age. Yeah, difficult to tell. But yeah, he sort of like looks at you, like regards you like with. There's like a brief trepidation, but mostly curiosity, and he's sort of like, allies of the Raven Queen are welcome to spend coin here. Afraid we don't have much in the way of things, just food and supplies and. what were you looking for?
I guess I just wanted to see if you had maybe an oddity, something that is kind of local, just as a souvenir, maybe.
Souvenir from the Shadow.
Like just to remember, like just as a way to remember our visit.
Well, if you're looking for something local, we do. Well, we make like totems.
Oh, totem sounds nice.
I can see if we've got one.
That would be great. So I'll take a totem. That'll be a nice way to remember this.
Yeah, he sort of like dips back behind the counter into like the stockroom in the back, and comes out a few moments later carrying sort of like a maybe like a foot tall I guess it's a squat pedestal with like a raven like perched on it with like open wings and like a splayed chest, and the raven is like cawing up into the air. But across the wings and the chest there is like a small scene that is carved, which is basically like it's a long chasm with a bridge across it, and it's basically like a depiction of the local landmarks.
You know, I think this will do just fine.
He sort of like proffers it to you and sort of says, 5 silver.
5 silver it is.
Takes the silver coins from you and sort of says, don't suppose pilgrims like yourselves are hungry?
Well, we'll be home in like, I guess, a couple of minutes, so it's not gonna. We'll be fine.
Sort of like regards that a bit quizzically, and then says, "Oh,
Don't worry about it.
That's fine."
Don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll be home in a couple of minutes.
Just
Just a
preparing
lot
some
to live
root cakes if you want. If I thought maybe you might want some.
Fruitcake.
You know
Funnel
what?
cakes! Get your funnel cakes here!
God.
You know what? You know, we'll have a. You know, if people are interested, you know, why not have a bit of funnel cake?
It's not a funnel
It's
cake.
not funnel cake.
Oh.
It's root
It's a
cake.
cake
Oh, root cake. I
Made
did
with
hear
root
over all the other people.
on the ground.
Well, I guess, you know what, we'll have some root cake. Why not? And then I think we'll have to get going again.
Yeah, he sort of nods, like smiles, and says, "Yeah, copper piece, and I'll get you some."
You know what? It's copper each, or
Yeah, copper for each of you.
okay, there we go.
Yeah, he takes that, goes into the back, like you see like a light flare in the back as he opens like some sort of oven, and he comes out with like a plate with like probably like I guess a like sort of like fist sized like yeah, I guess like baked like almost like dumpling like things.
Ooh.
And it sort of like offers them to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you take them, like bite into them, and yeah, it's not the best thing you've ever tasted, but it's basically like potato cakes with like some like an almost like more like earthy taste to them.
Potato, but more earthy. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like more intense potato. Let's put it that way.
More intense potato. One of the least intense vegetables there is.
Yes.
Extreme potato.
Extreme.
Well, say that. There's some potato types are actually surprisingly intense.
But yeah, they are filling, but nothing to write home about.
Well, I'll admit, I
I
wasn't.
watch Grim as he gets home. We went to the Shadowfell. We had some lovely root cakes.
Well, admittedly, I'm not sure why I decided that was enough, but I was like, you know what? Whilst we're here, why not?
Let's leave this.
The Raven Queen has instilled a YOLO lifestyle. Now.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Quite
Oh, yeah.
literally.
Wow.
Although I don't think it's quite that, not quite in that way, but maybe a little.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah. So
it'll
you
always be that way.
you eat your potato cakes, take your totem, and step outside into the village. And Elizabeth, you begin casting a spell, I presume.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's not really that much of a process. It's just we join hand and then whoop.
Yeah. Okay. In that case.
And yeah, plane shift is I just nominate a place and it puts me. It specifically says it just a bit in or near that destination.
Okay.
So I can just say the keep of the Amber Eagle on the material plane.
Yeah. So you appear wherever you want to in relative proximity to the keep.
Yeah, probably about the same distance as when we teleported from down south.
Yep. Yeah. So you all bamf back into the material plane.
We are badass motherfuckers.
And yeah, the oppressive sense that permanently permeates the Shadowfell is relieved as you reappear.
Well, I think as soon as we all reappear, Elizabeth's just go, well, I think we all now know that when this is all over, Grim wants to go on a tourist holiday.
Honestly, well, like I've said before that I wanted a kind of a whole with all of our achievements, and I've been kind of bad at keeping, track of it in, with meaningful things.
But I didn't think by, a trophy room, you meant just like, anywhere we went.
Well, would you not, it's having... We've done, the Raven Queen's most dangerous trial and spoken to her herself. It's I'd consider that, to be an achievement.
Yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
I think out of all things, this has been closer to killing us than a lot of things that probably should have killed us.
Are we excluding the
speak
things
for
that
yourself
actually...
about things getting close.
Are we
to
excluding
killing
the
you?
things that actually did kill us?
Yeah, we're well, you're here, so
We got better, is what you're saying.
We got
got-
better.
Oh, sorry, just because we got brought back from the dead doesn't mean that at one point we weren't dead.
Well, I'm not saying this is the worst thing we've ever done. I'm saying that there's things
I understand.
Yeah.
if we were gonna have to, if we only got an achievement, if it was the hardest thing we've ever done, that would be kind of sad. I wouldn't have.
Yeah. Now let's get back to the keep. There's probably stuff we've missed.
Yep. You head back towards the keep.
What time even is it?
That is a good point.
Oh, I think once we get back, the question is also going to be what day is it? Because
Yeah.
shenanigans.
Yeah. So, I think it is. You left in the morning, didn't you?
Yes. Pretty much immediately after breakfast.
Yes. So by the time you return, it is probably the compound is probably actually fairly quiet, and it's getting towards late evening. But as you sort of, I guess you you hear the congregation of sound coming from the mess hall. You step into the mess hall, and pretty much everybody is there, eating. A couple of people see the four of you enter and just sort of either wave or salute.
Seem a pretty sorry state some of us are in.
Vondal like comes past with like a bowl in his hands, and he just says, "Oh, wasn't expecting you back so soon."
Well, it was longer for us.
Or was it? Well, I guess it definitely felt longer given what we were
Definitely
doing.
felt longer than a handful of hours.
Yeah. But hey, we're back.
We're back.
Oh,
Yeah.
welcome back. Everybody okay? You look a little rough around the edges.
We've got a hell of a story.
Let's.
Do you want to sit down here and tell it, or do you want to go somewhere else?
Well, I guess the first part is not really confidential necessarily.
You know what? Let's take it upstairs.
We might as well tell. We'll tell you the exciting bits here and the practical stuff upstairs. Don't worry about it.
He just like sort of looks unsure whether he should sit down with his bowl of dinner or whether he should not.
Well, like I assume we're like in the mess hall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then I'll just sit down.
Yeah. Okay. The five of you sit down and Vondal starts eating.
So, do we want to get food ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
One
Perhaps we should
fist-sized cake does not a dinner make.
Okay.
You know.
Well, okay, maybe
Okay.
for you because you're small, but you know. Actually, yeah, good point. Who's fist-sized?
What?
Yeah,
That was
like
awful.
human fist size, not gnomish fist size.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, it was probably still not enough to be filling for Grim. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
fair
you all grab some food, you all gather around the table, and you regale Vondal with the tales of your adventures. I won't make you repeat it for my sake.
Beautiful trials.
Vondal looks like exceptionally concerned as you tell him all of the dangers that you faced.
Some more dangerous than others.
And then he sort of says, "That's a lot to go through for a simple conversation."
Yeah, you could say that. Well, I suppose it was a conversation that had the potential for us to get a lot out of it. So. What?
Also,
Did you at least get what you needed?
Yeah, I think so.
well, I think we got an angle to, or like an approach to our problem.
I think it's pretty
Plus-
safe to say that while before we went we had very little idea of what we need to do now, we've come out and have a much more solid grasp of what we need to do now.
And even though we don't fully support the Raven Queen in everything she does so far, I think in this case we will have her support, within reason. But she'll be willing to help us.
Vondal looks mildly concerned and says, "I'm still not 100% sure I trust that woman."
Yeah.
Well,
At
that's
least
why
the
we.
lists seem to be aligned.
Whatever she said to V before she left, V was she wasn't best pleased.
She didn't see. Well. Yeah, I can see why.
Like, V and her have some differences of opinion, and as far as I understood from her, V and I have similar issues. But I guess if those issues are not gonna get in the way of this specific problem, I hope. Although, now that I think about it, well, that will be stuff for later. One more.
I mean, for what it's worth, it
more
seems like she
confidential.
has good intentions at the very least.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
On this
necessarily question her on that front, if that's what you're concerned about.
On this particular issue, she's very much on us.
Yeah. But
good to
then-
hear, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, the road to the Nine Hells is paved with good intentions.
Yes.
Oh my god, Vandal!
Well, hey,
Such a
look,
dad!
I
It's-
know!
it's
Well,
basically
yeah.
like it's basically the same objection Grim had to just fully supporting her. It's like until I know how you're going to approach it, I can't support you because Yeah.
There's a lot we have to consider, but we at least have. Well, I definitely have an idea of what to do next.
That's good. I assume that's what you want to discuss after.
Yeah.
well,
That's the more
that and
sensitive
some.
stuff that involves our actual conversation with her.
Okay then. Well, I suppose let's finish our meal first. Yeah, so you continue to eat for a little while. I guess. Yeah, you know what? I don't think there's a role to be had here, but what are all of your respective passive perceptions?
19.
God awful. I think like an 11.
9.
I think like an 11.
17.
Okay.
Mine is literally 10 higher than Grim's.
So Elizabeth and Arya, you hear a commotion from outside. It's barely audible over the din of conversation in the mess hall, but it sounds like there are a number of individuals having a heated conversation outside.
Not comforting.
Hearing this, Elizabeth is. I guess how far into the meal is this?
You're pretty close to being finished.
Yeah, in that case, Elizabeth's going to just sort of, because I imagine Elizabeth, like me, eats pretty quick and usually finishes before most people.
Mhm.
So she probably is finished and just goes, and just sort of like, I guess the second everyone's focused on the conversation, she'll just like quietly put down whatever cutlery she had and go outside.
Okay.
I mean,
Like,
Arya's
she
gonna
doesn't
see her
want to make a
doing
fuss,
it.
but she's not gonna like hide the fact that she's leaving.
I'm gonna ask you where you're going.
Well, I can hear something outside and it doesn't sound good.
Then why leave without telling the rest of us?
Like, I'm
Kelariis is
sound-
also standing up now.
Because
Like,
it doesn't
if-
sound that bad.
Also, Sadani will handle it, and if it's too well, actually, like, and if Sadani can't handle it, I'm sure she'll try to find Vondal, which will lead her here.
Is Sadani out? Is Sadani out in here?
Sadani not in here.
I still would rather check.
Elizabeth, if we go out there and undermine her authority every single time there's a problem, then she won't have any respect from anyone. Well, from the mercenaries, which should let her do her thing.
I'm not trying to undermine her.
You're not trying to, but like, well, it's like Vondal said, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intention.
I can't believe this is the day you're going to start quoting Vandal back at us.
Vondal like sort of like chuckles to himself and sort of says, "I can't quite believe that either."
Well, sometimes it's convenient. Well, you know, and you do have a point sometimes.
He
Well.
raises his mug in a short salute.
While they're distracted, go try and slip out. Like the second they're not paying attention.
Okay.
Everyone's looking at Vondal.
I mean, you literally cannot slip away from Arya, so...
No.
Well,
I don't care, I'm going outside.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop you.
So you make your way over to the door and sort of peer outside.
Well, I imagine, like... Probably open the door as quiet as I can and, like, not, like, actually walk out, but, like, just stand off to the side of the door.
Yeah, okay, you, like, slip outside.
So, like, yeah, literally, like, they're just standing, like, right there.
So, you interrupt, or, well, you don't interrupt, but you are thrust into the middle of a conversation between, who would this be between? I guess it would be between Sudani, Lars, and Riala. As well as you can hear a fourth voice, but you cannot see a fourth participant in the conversation. Riala is, I mean, she is pretty pale to begin with, but she is currently as white as a sheet and looks like she's on the border of turning blue.
Turning blue as in, like, she can't breathe?
No, as in, like, when a pale person is in shock, they go as pale as they can possibly go, and then they turn blue.
Okay, so it's like a shock thing, it's not like
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, Lars has his hand on Riala's shoulder. And Sudani appears to be trying to mitigate with the fourth, very distressed sounding voice.
I guess I'm not gonna sort of announce I'm here, I'm just gonna sort of hover for a bit and try and figure out what's going on without butting in.
Okay.
Because I'm fearing butting in might cause in case butting in causes problems.
Okay. So I think, like, by the time you by the time you sort of, like, get into the conversation, or, like, are into what is happening, Sudani is already sort of turning away from this conversation and saying, just wait here, I'll go and find him. At which point she turns, sees you, like, sort of, like, locks eyes with you and begins to approach.
Is everything okay?
Is Grim inside?
Yeah.
And she sort of, like, pushes the door open and just sort of, like, looks at you, gives a sort of, like, a half shrug, and then just sort of steps inside.
Okay.
Grim, you see, like, as you're sort of, like, looking up to see where, like, Elizabeth has gone, Sudani, like, cracks the door open, glances across the room, spots you, beckons to you, and sort of makes a come here gesture.
Well, I guess she may have needed help after all, and then I'll get up.
I guess now that I'm, like, while that's happening, I guess Elizabeth will move slightly closer to the others and just say, what's going on?
Okay, so you approach the other group. Grim, as you approach Sudani, Sudani sort of, like, looks a little bit awkward and says, so there's somebody here to see you, and I don't really know how to explain it.
Wait, how?
Oh,
Sure. I guess bring me to them, I guess?
Yeah, she, like, leads you outwards. Elizabeth, as you approach the group that is having the conversation, the fourth voice becomes visible, and it makes sense why you were struggling to see them peering into the dark, because they are barely more than a couple of inches tall and flying.
Oh.
Called it, Jayla.
Look, sometimes my brain works okay.
This is
Also,
this is
it's not who
Archibald.
you think it is.
Oh,
Oh, it's not?
It's not.
Damn.
Oh.
It's
Not
kinda hoping it was
directly,
Archibald.
at least.
Oh, is it? Oh, fuck.
So
it's fine.
yeah, as the four of you convene in front of this conversation, the rest of you see this. You see Rel looking very concerned, and yeah, for those of you who have met Cobweb previously, yeah, Cobweb is here, flying a couple of feet off the ground. Cobweb is was the fairy that you met that is basically like she was the one who got rescued from the wizard's tower because she got into trouble trying to clean up Puck's mess.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That was the only other one that I could think if I couldn't remember a name. But yeah.
Yes. And yeah, basically upon seeing you, Grim, Cobweb flies down to like within a couple of inches of your face. She looks physically exhausted. And very worried. And yeah, she basically like flies down in front of you, a few inches in front of your face, and says, "Grim,
Yes.
I need your help."
Yes, I am definitely willing to help. Do you want to sit somewhere, or well? Yeah, because you look exhausted.
She just sort of like looks around, like where do I, and then sort of just. I think she like for a moment she just sort of like swallows her pride and like goes to sit on your shoulder.
Not what I had in mind, but it will do.
What else is she gonna say?
She just like sort of like grabs hold of your like shoulder pauldron, like sits on your shoulder, and just sort of says, "Well, there isn't anywhere else to sit. Besides, this is important."
Yes.
Well, I already explained to your whoever these guys are. Puck's in trouble.
What did he do this time?
As far as I know, nothing. But Titania thinks he did something, and she's banished him. But she didn't just banish him anywhere. She banished him to the Dreaming Vault, and that's really bad.
Have I heard of the Dreaming Vaults?
You have not.
I will take your word for it being very bad, but I will admit I am not familiar with vaults.
She sort of like rubs the hair out of her face and like massages the bridge of her nose and sort of says, yeah, of course. Dreaming Vaults is very bad because it's basically a magic labyrinth that nobody escapes from.
So, I'm guessing you're asking me one of two things. Either you want me to get him out of, well, maybe both at the same time, I guess. Either prove his innocence, get him out of there, or both. I'm guessing that's what you would like us to do.
She like nods and sort of says, yeah, there's only one real complication.
Yes.
I already tried to help him escape, and it went really badly wrong.
How so?
So, basically, Puck has this magic compass, right? It takes him like wherever it is that he needs to be. I don't really understand how it works, but I know where he kept it. And when Titania banished him, I thought, well, to get him out of a labyrinth, I'll just send him the compass. So I tried to send him the compass with magic. But I think Titanium might have been expecting me to do that, so it triggered some sort of trap, and now he's not only trapped in the labyrinth, he's also completely powerless. He does have the compass, but I don't know how good that is to him without his magic.
Honestly, that sounds perfect. Well, not perfect, but I think that means that if we can get to him, we might be able to use that compass to get out anyway. Whiz Puck, and then perhaps he can help us in what we actually was our current predicament. Even not that we require that, of course, but I think this is I'm gonna have to ask the others for some ideas, but I think we're gonna be coming up with a plan to help you out. Well, or I guess help Puck out specifically.
Riala immediately interjects and says, "I'll help."
Okay. You seem rather eager.
Cobweb puts her hands on her hips and says, "She didn't tell you."
What didn't she tell? Well, I guess. What did you tell? I'll give you a chance to explain first.
Riala looks like she is still very pale from shock, but like a little bit of the color comes back as she looks a little bit embarrassed, and she says, "Well, I did tell you, but I wasn't specific."
No, I'm offering you the chance to be more specific.
You remember when I told you that I was sent here by my uncle because he had an interest in you and everything that it is that you got up to?
Yes.
Puck is my uncle.
I guess I kind of had my suspicions at the time, but good to actually know. But yes, that does, that is a decent, well, a very solid reason, I may say, to be invested.
While this is going on, let's just like slowly shuffle over to Zidani and just be like, "Am I the only one who has no idea what's going on right now?"
Sidani just leads it and just goes, "I have no idea."
Okay,
Oh. Yeah, I guess we never talked about Puck too much, did we?
Nope. Yeah, I think at like at this point, like Riala sort of like steps away from Lars, who just like lets his hand like fall to the side. He sort of like looks at you, Grim, like is almost like expecting you to like see if you have anything that you want him to do. Otherwise, he's just gonna like stand there.
I'll like if he's looking at something else, like I'll get back to you. Or like yeah, I'll get back to you in a bit, Lars.
He offers you a salute and says, "I'll return to patrol." And yeah, he returns to the keep wall. At which point Riala sort of said, well, actually, I guess Cobweb, the panic and like physical exertion is momentarily like restored with her normal sarcastic quippiness, as she sort of like leans on the side of your pauldron and like looks at Riala and sort of says, Um, she's the reason why Titania doesn't like him.
I had no clue, but I don't see why that should affect her specifically. Well, I guess now it's Puck's problem. I was going to say it's Titania's problem, but she kind of took it out on Puck now, didn't she?
Yeah. Riella sort of folds her arms and says, "That's not entirely true." Cobweb sort of sneers ever so slightly, and Riella just looks at her, looks back at you, Grim, and says, "Puck vouched for me when I was training in the court. That didn't go down too well with some members of the court, but he insisted. If you're going to help, well, you'll need to be careful. The Fae are not known for their benevolence, shall we say. They have a lot of complicated rules and a lot of complicated ways to enforce them. Fortunately, I know a lot about them, and I can help."
You undoubtedly have expertise, some kind of expertise in this area. Well, of course, assuming. Well, I guess it's been kind of confirmed that what your role was. Question is, would your involvement in in ratifying this situation cause more problems, or would it solve problems? Because I believe you could be a valuable asset. However, and you might even be able to prove to Titania, or in some sense, prove that it was a good choice. I believe you have, I'd believe it, but I'm not sure how things would go down.
Riella considers for a moment and says, "As much as I would like to come with you and rescue my uncle myself, you raise a good point. My welcomeness in the court was conditional entirely upon Puck. With him gone, I don't know exactly where I would stand."
In that case, well, assuming that Lars would be willing to part with you, initially, if you think you have something to prove, or you think you can, and most importantly, you think you can actually, achieve what we need to achieve there, I would be willing to allow you to tag along. However, considering the position that you mentioned you're in, cannot guarantee it's going to be easy or safe in the slightest.
She nods. At the very least, even if I don't accompany you, I can teach you things. How to game the rules, so to speak.
That sounds perfectly fine. However, if you're going to teach them, you should probably teach the entire squad that's going to go, because it seems more convenient that way.
She nods vigorously and sort of says, "Yes, whatever I can do.
Well, considering, like, how, like, I don't know if this is a known thing. How long do people last in this labyrinth?
Cobweb
then-
sort of like pipes up and just sort of says, "Do you mean people, or do you mean?"
Well, I guess in this case, more specifically, Puck. What would be the expected window that we have, as in, or deadline?
Well, with his power, I would have said he's perfectly capable of getting himself out, but without it, I don't know.
Okay, I've got a question at least. Is there anything in there that is gonna, try and make it so that he can definitely never get out?
Well, that's kind of the
I-
whole purpose of the labyrinth.
It's full of deadly monsters.
I don't know. I actually don't know what's in the labyrinth. I just know that it's designed to keep all but the most powerful of Fey beings contained, and the only things that I've ever seen come out of it aren't the same as when they went in. And I don't just mean that as in they came out changed people. Sometimes they came out literally changed people.
Okay.
Why are the Fae so weird?
I'm trying not
So-
to take that personally.
Sorry.
It's not necessarily an insult, I guess.
I mean, yeah, weird's good.
But that said, I guess there is another option that that we might want to consider, although you might be able to dismiss it. Could we just could we restore Puck's power from, just somehow, remotely? Because they took it away. Therefore, surely it can be given again.
Cobweb just sort of shrugs and says, I guess so, but without knowing what Titania did in the first place, I wouldn't even know how to start reversing it.
I'm also guessing this wouldn't be a simple case of what I do on most rescue missions, which is teleport in, find the person, teleport out.
Guessing he'd be out by now if that was
Yeah.
the case.
Cobweb just sort of says, I don't think you can teleport into the Dreaming Vault. It isn't really... Gosh, this is so hard to describe without actually showing you. The vault isn't necessarily a physical space. I don't know how you would teleport into it.
Oh.
Well, how about this? Considering we are going to have, I assume you want to help us. You're willing to assist us for a little longer, so we can retrieve Puck.
I'm coming with you.
Oh well, that's fine.
Oh, that part is not negotiable.
No, that's not the problem. What I was suggesting is that we round up the party before we. It's going to save us time in the long run. Actually, they're just.
Basically, you want to put together a team and then we'll explain the situation and think about what to do.
And Riala, I guess you can join us for now, and then I guess you can. I guess the decision. I'll leave the decision up to you, unless explicit reasons for you coming along or staying arise, of course. But time for you to head to the what we call it, command room.
War room.
War room, yes, that's it.
Yeah, she sort of like she seems to still be sort of like she's still in a little bit of shock, but she's like clearly like thinking as well. And she sort of like snaps out and says, "Yes, of course." Cobweb just sort of says, "All right, let's snap to it," and then just sort of like tries to like stand up on your pauldron. Her legs fail her, and she falls off. Make me a dexterity saving throw, or just a dexterity check.
Well, boy, does she choose the wrong shoulder.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, poor Cobweb's not gonna have a good time.
Oh.
Okay. Oh yeah. So you manage to catch her like shortly before her wings kick in, and she sort of like pushes herself up like in your palms. Is like, it's alright, I got it.
Well, like I'll be heading there anyway. Well, after I grab the others, so there's no rush.
I mean, you can just head there. I can grab the others.
That works.
Okay, so you take Puck and Riala to the war room. Elizabeth goes and fetches Arya and Kelariis.
I guess there's some visible confusion on Sidani's face, but
Yes, Sidani's just sort of there, like, everything good?
Yeah.
I guess I forgot to mention something, but like I'll explain after, I guess, or in a bit.
Yeah. Also, like, yeah. I guess Elizabeth's just like, you know what, Sidani, like, sometimes it's best not to question things,
Wow.
especially with him.
She looks somewhat incredulously at you, Elizabeth, and sort of says, "Really? From you?"
Damn.
Yikes.
Okay, fair, but
Shots fired.
still. Look. We've all gotten into some weird stuff, so don't expect anything. Just don't ask questions about any of us because something weird's gonna come up.
Wait, are you telling Sidani that she shouldn't ask questions?
Okay, no, you can ask questions if you like, but like, you know what? I'm just gonna. Yeah.
She puts a hand on your shoulder and she says, "How about you go do what you were told to do, and I'll keep doing what I was told to do."
That's a really good idea.
Damn. Shidani really did just kind of like destroy Elizabeth in the span of a minute.
Elizabeth does look a little bit embarrassed now.
Well, you know,
More than a
we
little
didn't
bit.
we didn't have Elizabeth join for maturity.
Wow.
Or leadership capability.
No.
Yep.
Also true.
No, Elizabeth does not have leadership capabilities.
Yeah, which is why we
She
chose Sidani.
tries.
But yeah, like as Elizabeth is dismissed, Sidani turns back to you, Grim, and sort of says, "I get that you probably don't have time to explain, but just if you need me, find me.
Yes.
I'm gonna go join Lars on patrol again."
This is pre Amber Eagle, but I'll explain when we have time.
She salutes and heads back to join Lars.
Yeah, and I guess Elizabeth just pokes head through back into the mess hall and just looks over at Kelariis and Arya, beckons them with a very confused face. Still probably a little bit flustered.
I just kind of look at
Everything okay?
Arya, raise an eyebrow, and just like look back at Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then like as they get closer, she's just like, "So, fairies?" And then shrugs. War room.
Oh,
Vondal just like puts down the ball and goes, "I'm gonna guess that meeting is postponed.
It
sounds
seems like it.
Do you need me?"
You might as well come. I'm pretty sure you know the situation. You definitely at least would know this situation better than me. I'm pretty sure.
He sort of like pushes the ball to like aside and just says, "Fine."
I mean, you don't have to.
No, it sounds like I do.
Okay. And then yeah, we'll go up to the war room.
Okay, so the 7, 8 of you convene in the war room.
There's 4 of us normally, but now there's also
Well,
Grim and
usually.
Fairy.
5 of us usually, because Vondal's also there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the 4 of you: Vondal, Riala, and Cobweb. So that's 7.
It's even.
Okay. Let's kill that and. Okay. So the information is conveyed to the rest of you so that you're all caught up on the same page, and Cobweb, who has now taken up residence on a book in the middle of the table, just says, "Yep, the long and short of it is, Titania banished him for, basically banished him for espionage, which is spying against the court, which is forbidden unless you're in the court, in which case no one would dare accuse you of espionage because everybody's spying on everybody else. But that's a thing we'll get into when we get there."
Yeah, I have many questions, but I'm not going to ask them because we'd be here all day.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll give you. I think we'll give you the short version. I found Puck's horn. It turned me blonde. He found me. I gave it back. He gave me a blessing. And then later on, met Cobweb, saved her from a wizard in a tower who had messed up some summoning, and that's how we met.
Can I just say that of all the people in this group who I would have expected to be friends with the Fae, it is not you.
Well, the Fae, I don't have too many problems with it, as far as I know.
I'd honestly be less surprised if Vondal was the ally of the Fae.
Well, I will point out, like historically speaking, gnomes are like Fey origin.
I know,
I
but
am-
it's grim.
Like, I'm the most Fae of you all.
I know, but it's
Untrue.
Send it to
I
Arya.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feywild.
yeah.
Well, just because you live in the Feywild doesn't
Yeah.
make you a Fae.
But yeah, Arya, all of this talk of Fey courts has your danger sense just on edge. You have spent you have spent your entire life being told never get involved in Fey court matters, and now here you are.
Yep. So let's go get ourselves entangled in Fey politics. I'm sure that will go well.
Yeah, surely people are going to notice as well if Puck gets out.
Well,
Or will
that's
they?
why we're like, the rescue Puck plan is gonna probably include some form of how do we not make become mortal enemies of the Fey court part, because that would be probably more than we want to deal with.
I thought
Riala
the
sort of,
Penguin
like,
Red
sits
Legion
up.
head on.
Riala sort of sits up straight and says, "I would leave the working out what happens after we rescue my uncle to my uncle."
Yeah, but there are some things that I would suggest. Like, let's say if we had to, I'm not saying that we're going to do this, but let's say for whatever reason we ended up killing someone from the Fey court in order to get him out. That would
What?
probably be a bad idea.
Please
probably-
don't
Why
do
is
that.
Let's
No,
just
but, like-
let's just agree that did not
See-
happen. That statement didn't occur, and we'll just move forward like that didn't happen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like maybe like killing is a clear border that we won't come back from, but there are some more grayish areas.
Yeah, look, I don't want any of us to be in any kind of trouble with the Fae.
Well, that's too
bad.
late.
Riala just sort of like mouths a series of incomprehensible like syllables before like recovering her composure and just sort of says, "Yes, so on the subject of lines that should never be crossed, I don't know how much you know of Fey Court politics and the Sealy Court in particular. I'm going to go ahead and wager probably very little.
Absolutely nothing.
Do I know anything, Rob?
Give me a history check.
No.
Okay. The only thing you were ever taught about the Fae is basically keep away from them and never make a promise to one of them. So yeah, she sort of like looks around and see if anyone responds.
I just tell her what I know.
Yeah.
Which is not
There's
much.
just, yeah, there's
She-
just, like,
she-
absolutely nothing.
She nods and says, "Yes, the promises thing is very important. Especially in the Sealy Court, promises they're a form of magic in and of their own. They are binding and can be called upon as needed. Never promise them anything."
Noted.
I think the one thing that I know that is probably the most helpful that will allow you to cheat their system, and I use the word cheat very strongly because make no assumptions, they are going to try and cheat you. It's what they do.
Oh, it's one of those things.
Everything is a game to them. And navigating that game is something that you're going to have to do very carefully if you want to make it out without any side effects. But there is one law that you can use as a loophole, and I would suggest taking advantage of it as much as possible. And that's the same loophole that allowed me to be trained in their arts. In the Fey tongue, it has a special name, but I suppose the closest designation is the law of the guest. Essentially, the moment you come into contact with the Sealy Court, throw yourselves upon Titania's hospitality. I know it seems counterintuitive, but she will be obliged to either accept or reject you before anybody can do anything else. If they try and fool you while you're laying claim to hospitality, then anybody that tries to do that would be liable for anything that happens to you. The Fae will take that very seriously. If she accepts you, then you're afforded at least a small amount of protection against the more basic schemes that they try to pull. And, well, if she rejects you without a good reason, being queen of the Sealy Court, it will reflect badly on her, and she won't take that hit to her image lightly. If she does turn you down, well, your best option is to retreat. And watch your back, because if she thinks she has a good reason to reject you, then she probably has a good reason to act on that as well.
I've never been more anxious in my life than until I have been right now.
I haven't even started yet.
Oh dear.
Immediately related to the above, gifts. Gifts are a very powerful thing. Again, like promises. Gifts are considered to be debts owed. If anyone offers you a material gift of any kind, you should reject it. Again, you can sort of game this yourselves. When she presents you her hospitality, repay her with a suitably lavish gift. She'll be forced to decline said gift and that will essentially set up the premise of your relationship that neither of you owes anything to the other. It essentially... She can't come back on you later and claim for something that wasn't offered because you offered. She may try and play you back. She'll ply you with something basic like food or drink. Decline that as well. Food and drink is the handbook trick number 1 for the court. The moment you accept it, you owe something. Just avoid it. I'm trying to rack my brain to see what else I can remember. I suppose on the subject of gifts still, immaterial gifts are considered, well, flattery. Things like compliments or... oh, excuse me. Immaterial gifts such as compliments. Things like emotional outbursts, declarations of love, these sort of things are currency to the Fae. They're considered praise. They're an immaterial thing. They can't be repaid, but you do still have to be careful with them. Being caught in a lie is one of the biggest insults you can make to a member of the Fae, and making them truthfully does, well, it puts them in a position where they could just be careful.
Yeah. Guess in essence, that means that whenever we say something, we either need to be 100% certain, or we should make sure that it is known. Like, because I guess if I said I believe this to be true, and I believe it, then that is not a lie. Even if it in the end turns out not to be right.
That's good. If nothing else, they will appreciate the word games, but yes. Don't worry too much about telling them things that turn out to be untrue. Just be careful making claims that you know are untrue. That is where the biggest catch-out lies. One of the preferred games of the court is to see who can tell the biggest lie without being called out on it. And those who are called out on it, well, the end result is unpleasant.
What if I just don't say anything?
That's advisable.
Cool.
That being said, make every effort to acknowledge the Queen herself. She is exceptionally vain, and she knows it. By all means, tell her how beautiful and regal and general... flatter her with compliments, and other members of her court as well, but never suggest that anyone is more beautiful or more perfect than the Queen. That's a surefire way to get yourself executed.
Oh my.
As an addendum, I should start writing these down.
Yeah, please make me a list. I'm going to forget all of these.
Yes, and she's immediately starts scribbling on a piece of parchment. She says, yes, always be polite, but never ever tell them that you're thankful.
Is that to do with again the thing of owing them something?
Yes, it's an implication that you owe them something for something that they've done.
What about asking questions? Because in that case, you're asking something from them, and if they answer, would they have? Do you owe them something?
They might expect a question answered in return. It's a kind for kind sort of thing. The problem is when you leave it ambiguous or unquantifiable. They will exploit that. If you do end up in a situation where you think you may have accidentally created some form of debt, settle it before they ask you to settle it. You may get away with repaying a debt in a way that is kinder on you in the long run. Don't overpay, of course, or you risk offending them, and don't try and pay them off with material things, because that won't work either.
My goodness.
Oh, and never give a Fae your full name. It's something they can use over you.
Okay.
Just by knowing it, they can compel you to honour certain laws and traditions that I don't have time or the resource to go into all of them. Just don't do it.
Is there not a way we can just avoid interacting with the court at this point? Because,
I mean, considering the nature of the matter, I highly doubt that's the case.
God damn it.
Well,
Unfortunately, the only people considered exempt from the rules of the Sealy Court are children and expectant mothers. So,
Expectant mothers. Such an oddly specific out.
from what I understand, it's to do with the Fae understanding of innocence. To con a child is... They don't... They consider a child unable to defend itself against deception, so there is no honour in holding them to that, and I suppose the same extent goes to those who carry their children.
Well, I guess, would you happen to know this Vault of Dream, where is it located? The entrance, 'cause we can't teleport into it.
I have only ever heard stories. And he sort of like, she turns to Cobweb, and Cobweb just sort of like shrugs and says, I know where I went to try and send the amulet. I guess that's kind of a way in. Thing is, I don't think anybody except Titania and maybe Oberon know where it's actually located, or if it even is located in a where. They were the ones who decided to use it as a labyrinth to send dangerous things, but I don't think they created it. I think it existed and they took advantage of it.
That's usually how those types of exile go.
Well, I was just wondering, because if we knew where it was, we could perhaps change the degree of interaction required with the court. But I guess what we will be trying to get from the court is that information.
I mean, yeah, what exactly is... How on earth are we even going to go about this?
Cobweb sort of like pipes up and says, well, I can take you to where it is that you need to be to find the court, and if we want to get in there, it's going to be difficult to get in there without being noticed, but well, I think if we appeal to Titania's curiosity, she might even just let us walk in there. Particularly if she thinks that we won't ever walk out. And if we do, well, I think she'll be sufficiently surprised. She might even let us go free.
Yeah, I was gonna say, surprised in a good way or surprised in a bad way?
Titania's pretty full of herself. She likes to think that she knows best, and when she doesn't, she likes to make everyone believe that she did.
That's starting to sound like surprised in a bad way.
No, it sounds more like she'll be surprised enough to say that she intended for us to get out and let us go.
Cobweb points at Kelariis and says, "She's got it." Riala finishes scribbling on a piece of paper and hands it to you.
Okay, so these are the basic rules? Is this it?
This is far from it, but if you claim the law of the guest, this should be all you need. Try to minimize your interactions with them if you can. These will protect you to the best of my ability, but they're very good at getting around their own rules.
Okay, getting around rules has never been my expertise. I honestly feel like I'm going to be more of a liability to helping you guys get him out.
Well, there's always a way. Well, I think you'll be. Well, I say I think you'll be fine. I don't think you'll get us in trouble that we can't get out. Would be.
Just think about the trouble that my words have got us in before.
Yes, and that's why you'll think very hard about what you're gonna say. And
Or
which-
if you're really that unsure of yourself, just don't say anything unless you absolutely need to.
We can, if you're like, if you think there is something, dude, we can just do the old, pull and just tap a shoulder back, tuck the shirt. Well, not tuck the shirt, but
What?
just pull. Just a little way of just letting someone know, like, help. I need words. Give me your words.
I think we'll all just have to be on guard with our words. They aren't known for being quite dangerous for no reason.
I feel like it says a lot that I am more, just from this, I am more terrified of the Fey Court than I am of the Dread Legion.
Oh,
I think that's an exaggeration, but
Well, there is one thing that you haven't told us yet that might be good to know. What kind of because you suggested we bring a material gift. However, what do the Fae value?
That's the thing. They actually have no value of material possessions. It's more what the gesture represents.
So it's more what the material was worth to us rather than to them.
Precisely.
Okay.
Something that you might consider fitting of a queen. I struggle myself to know exactly what to suggest to you. I saw it happen a few times and backfire more than a few, but as I said before, Titania is vain and knows it. She's obsessed with her beauty and being the most beautiful in her court. Something that confirms that or suggests that you believe that?
A mirror?
I have a hunch that a mirror is not quite.
Rayla sort of like thinks about it for a moment and sort of says, it could work. It would need to be a particularly elaborate mirror. I suppose if you try to juxtapose that the mirror is not sufficient in its own to hold her beauty.
Well, mirrors are quite some.
Look, guys, I just don't know if taking someone who struggles with social situations into the Fey Court is a good idea.
Well, think about it like this. Who of us would you ever send into a social situation?
Damn.
That is a self-burn, but also very true.
I was like, that's fair. You know what? That's fair.
Cobweb nods and says, no, he's got a point.
I don't like this at all.
Where's your dryad friend? She was good at talking.
She's busy.
Yeah, she has her own quest and adventure to go on.
That sucks.
Also, I don't think this is the kind of talking she's good at.
No, she's far too sincere, I think.
She's... yeah.
Which is usually a good thing, but I think here it may not help so much.
I feel like she thrives more in a social situation with less... and with less stakes. Also, my answer to the question of social situations is Vondal.
Vondal,
You
who's just been
say,
sat in the corner for the whole time, is just like, oh no.
I wouldn't. I'd still take myself over Vandal, but
Oh, I
Damn.
wouldn't.
Yeah, you're the only one who would.
I'm the only one with confidence.
Yeah, but you're also the only one who's likely to, do your classic thing of saying something which you very much think is a compliment or just a statement and is actually a really, nasty insult.
I mean, honestly, even with that risk, I'd still rather take Grim. I'm good at talking my way around laws, but people who try and game them, that's... I don't even know what to do about that.
It's gonna be good practice.
This is why we need a diplomat.
Well, I don't think there's any diplomat that I'd dare take along with us.
To be fair, I don't think there's a diplomat you could pay enough gold in the world to go into the Fey Court.
Oh,
Unless they
I'm
were
sure
Fey.
there's plenty of people that will pay us to get a chance.
Ha.
Although I'm not sure if those people would be proficient.
Yeah.
Riala sort of like looks between you all nervously as like you're like having this conversation. And then she says, "If you need me to, I can go." I don't know what their reaction to seeing me again will be, or whether or not they will be as willing to accept me. But if you need, I will be your spokesperson.
Oh, I trust myself. But
As
I do have a hunch that if I'm the spokesperson, we'll be and we'll maybe end up doing the thing that we usually do, which is basically leave everything behind as a massive mess, and we basically just have to run for our lives. But
yeah, I would
but
feel much
six-
more comfortable with someone of your experience with us, but at the same time,
well,
I don't want to bring you along if you don't want to come, you know?
I very much want to come, but I don't know that it places you at any safer.
just you showing up might be considered an insult.
I'd still rather that and then have someone who actually knows what they're doing in there than
So you,
all of us show up with no one having any opinion of us and no one knows what they're doing.
I think, so you'd rather start with someone who they potentially already want to get rid of in advance, than with someone who they don't have no idea, like they don't know what they want to deal with yet.
Well, because we can potentially do things that will make their opinions positive, but we need someone who can get us in the situation where we can demonstrate that, and I don't think any of us can do that.
Yes, but like she said, I have a hunch that they will not give, if we show up with her, we will not have we will not be given the chance to be considered polite, or I have a hunch that they would rather. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how bad it is, but consider from what I've heard, I wouldn't be too surprised if they just would execute us for something like conspiring with a traitor, or who knows.
At this point, Cobweb has hopped off the book and is just fiddling with the piece of paper that Riala has written on. Is tearing little bits off it and fiddling around with them. And at that point,
Elizabeth sees her tearing the paper. She Elizabeth will scoop it up. She's like, no, I want to have that. I want to have the rules.
yeah. Well, she's only small, so she's tearing little bits of it. She's just bored.
I know, but still.
If you snatch the paper away from her, she pouts at you and then flips you off.
God, I forgot how much I love Cobweb.
But yeah, Cobweb sort of turns to you, Grim, and says, "I don't know. I feel like it kind of gives you an advantage. I mean, the Fakeorts, they're curious, and if you just show up and on her doorstep and say, "Hey, Titania, we want to talk to you, and you're going to set Cobweb free." Sorry, she doesn't say that. She says, "You're going to set Puck free, and we're going to go into the labyrinth and stuff." I actually think she'll probably find that really interesting and just want to see if you live.
Well,
I don't know. The element of surprise could be good for you.
yeah, but wait, are you saying the element of surprise with or without Riala?
Without. I mean,
Without,
just
yeah,
you guys,
that's
a
what I'm
bunch of
thinking.
random mortals showing up on her doorstep.
And saying we're gonna free Puck.
I think it'd be better to show up with Ariella.
So wait, let me get this straight. You are suggesting that we just show up and say, "Hey, we're gonna free Puck. Can you put us in the labyrinth?"
Yep.
Well, let's.
Why
Well,
is that
let's
the most
put,
comforting plan we've come up with so far?
think
Cobweb
about it
begins
like
to ball up the bits of paper and throw them at you.
Also, yeah, I guess there's a point. Think about it like this: they expect nobody to ever leave the labyrinth. So if we want to go in, why care? They send people there never expecting to see them back again. Admittedly, that does mean we should probably try and see if we can figure something out.
as far as they're concerned, you'll either never come out, or you'll come out all horribly mutated and weird like everyone else does. But that's why we have the backup.
But what is the backup?
The compass.
Oh, yes. Well, then we need to find the backup first.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, because we're going to go find Puck.
Yeah, the backup's with Puck.
Do you know that Puck actually got the compass?
Well, he has to have got the compass, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have lost his magic.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if your attempt to send it lost him his magic, or him receiving it lost him his magic.
Okay, fair point.
So wait, you don't know if? Oh god.
I'm pretty sure Puck has the compass.
Oh.
I think we just have to go on that assumption because I don't think we're going to find it otherwise.
Well, put it this way, if Titania had set the trap the other way around, and just it had been triggered by me sending the amulet, why would she not have just blown me up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question.
Well, I guess they.
And how would it
thought
have
be
known
more
to
fun.
target Puck if they didn't know that he was receiving it?
That's a good point.
Well,
Okay, yeah. So okay. We just need to get into the labyrinth by appealing to her curiosity, and then we find Puck, and then the compass helps us get out.
Sounds like a plan.
Honestly, it's about as solid as most of the plans we come up with.
yeah, you say that. Not like any of our plans hold up most of the time, but although actually we've been rather good at our plans recently. Well, if we're gonna go there, we're gonna have to stock up on food, and lots of it.
Yeah. Who
Because
knows how long we'll be there for?
Considering how long has Puck been banished?
Oh gee, that's a good point. What time is it? What day is it?
I'll give it a date.
Wait, does that even work?
Won't be accurate because
Well, yeah, because Feywild time,
Well-
right?
I left as soon as I knew, so I've been gone 2 weeks? I mean, it'll be a lot faster to get back with you guys, because we'll be reliant on my wings.
yes, I think the fact that so he's been roaming. Well, you've been going through the Feywild for 2 weeks, right?
No, I've been here for 2 weeks. I was not in the Feywild for very long, but that makes very little difference.
Yeah,
Well-
that could have meant that she was in the Feywild for an hour, or she might have been.
The reason why I was asking, because if it took you, let's say you spent a week of that in the Feywild and then a week outside here, we know at least a week has passed in the Feywild. Well, probably slightly more because time.
Yeah.
But and the reason why I'm asking this is because I'm kind of because if we get into the labyrinth, every day that Puck has had to wander in the labyrinth is a day longer that we might have to walk to find him.
If Puck is smart, and I mean, we both know him, he's pretty smart. He's probably staying still.
There's
So,
a
surely
there's a
there's
chance.
a way we can. Surely there's a way we can contact him once we're in the labyrinth.
Well, do you know Puck?
No.
Bondo? I don't think Bondo. Did you ever meet Puck?
Vondal shakes his head and says, I think you're the only person who's ever seen him.
And I don't do magic. Well, at least not well.
Cobweb
Right.
shakes his head and says, it wouldn't do you any good anyway. The labyrinth is... Well, I mean, you can't teleport into it and can't teleport out of it, and it's pretty well protected against most kinds of magic for finding people and talking to people. It's kind of why it makes such a great place to just banish people, because you never see or hear from them again unless they manage to stumble their way out.
Well, like sometimes, I think what the idea was that once we're in there, usually those kinds of magics are kind of are more of a cross-dimensional kind of thing. Usually, when you're inside, they're like, yeah, those magics kind of become more relaxed, or restrictions become more relaxed.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
Well, I guess we just established that that is not going to happen. I do not have the time to learn magic.
No, but technically we have an artifact that would allow you to cast a spell that I can put in there. We'd have to use the spells that are already in it, but we could do that.
Yes, that is true. You know what? That might not be the worst idea.
But yeah, it's possible that in that ring I could put a charge of sending, and then you could use the ring to cast sending.
You know, I
Because
guess
even if magic is blocked from getting into an area, it's usually fine to use magic within that area.
Well,
unless it's an anti-magic area, in which case it would block all magic, in which case it would have had magic the second you got in there, so...
Well, how about we figure out what we're going to do? Because I think you put in something like language, like comprehend languages in there or something.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to get rid of anything, that's probably the thing we're going to get rid of.
Well, the way it works is it stores a certain amount of slots, and the reason comprehend languages even fit in there is because it only takes up one slot, 'cause it's a first level spell.
Yeah, you'd need to get Vitriolic Sphere out of there as well to have enough slots.
Oh, I
The
thought
only
like
way to get
message was
enough-
just like first level.
No,
Nope.
sending is third.
Oh, third, wow.
Yeah, sending's powerful, man. Well, think about it. The ability to send a message to anyone anywhere on the material plane regardless of distance, or anyone on any other plane with only a 5% chance of failure.
Well, like I thought there was a weaker version.
There is message as a cantrip, but
But that one is that's
you
like
have to
30
see your
feet.
target, yeah.
Yeah, that one's
Or
completely
not see your
useless for our
target, you have to know
purposes.
where your target is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one's
okay,
completely
that is-
useless for our purposes.
Well, I guess we're not. I guess we're never planning on using Trollic Sphere anyway. Are we?
But I think Elizabeth has it now, so...
I love the immediate just.
No, I don't.
We're not gonna use it, are we?
Oh,
Maybe we'll use it.
I have
You-
it, Rob.
No,
Yeah.
but Elizabeth has
Access to the spell.
Oh, she
Oh,
has
no, yeah,
the
'cause I
spell.
have her spell book.
yes, you
Oh,
have
okay.
Illyria's
Yeah.
spellbook, which has Victrolic Sphere in it.
So, yeah. In theory,
So-
I could. not
Which-
use mine.
I realised the other day, technically, if you wanted to, you could just take Illyria's spellbook and start using Illyria's spell list. But it would
Yeah,
mean
good.
you'd be unattuned from all of your other spells.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't want that. I like my spells.
But if you ever lost your spellbook, you could take Kelariis and start using it.
Yeah, and I'd still have all of the spells that I prepped from my old spellbook.
Till the next day.
No. Not necessarily. Anyway, that's
no, yeah,
a
that's only if I
side.
make a new
That,
spellbook.
that's a side discussion.
Yeah, anyway.
Yes, with all this. Oh, I think there's one. Well, do we know if is it rock in there or is it plant-like in there?
What do you mean?
Well, I see. Because I'm kind of running out of chalk, and if it's rock, I kind of like bringing chalk.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But if it's plants, chalk doesn't work great on plants.
Considering how it warps pretty much anyone and everything that goes into there. I'm going to go ahead and say it probably doesn't stay the same for very long.
Yeah.
How
I don't think chalk will help you in this particular maze.
well? I guess there's
I'm
There's
also
always
not even
the op-
sure it's an actual labyrinth. I think labyrinth is just like a description.
fair enough. Well, otherwise, like I was thinking, the other option is we buy like 1,000 foot of rope, or maybe more. But that might also be silly.
I think that's a little silly.
But
yeah, I
like,
think anything that we try to do like physically like that is not gonna work. If I had to guess.
That was kind of my idea behind sending him the compass.
Yeah.
well, I guess we'll just have to rely on the compass purely. Also, there's one thing that usually works. The old what's it called again? Banish. Don't know if banish is stopped by that kind of magic.
But then how would we get out?
Banish.
No.
We just banish ourselves.
I
Yeah.
can't banish myself.
Actually, yes, you can.
Can I?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, there you go. Loophole.
There's nothing in the spell that stops you from banishing yourself.
But it might still count as plain
Well,
teleportation,
actually,
to be
wouldn't
honest.
it though? Because you're incapacitated when you're banished, and wouldn't that lose you the concentration on the spell to keep you
Can you attempt to
banished?
send the creature to the...
Oh, you're not incapacitated, are
I'm
you?
pretty sure you
The target
are
is
when
engaged
you're
in the plane of
banished.
existence. You only banish the target to a harmless demiplane. Oh yeah, only if you banish into a demiplane they're incapacitated.
Yeah, if you banish them back to their home, they're not incapacitated.
I
Yeah.
see.
But because if they're on the native plane, they could just get to a demiplane and they're incapacitated.
But then I
Yes.
guess that creates the issue of for Puck and for Cobweb, if that's still considered part of
The Feywild.
their native plane,
Yeah.
Well, that
then
is true.
that's not going to help them at
If it's
all.
still part of the Feywild, yeah. If it's still part of the Feywild,
Also-
they won't actually get banished.
Also, honestly, that's probably blocked by any sort of transportation. At least, like, to their home plane part of it, if not to the demi-plane bit. That seems
Yeah,
like
no,
something
'cause-
that would be covered by... Kelariis obviously doesn't know this, but this is
Yep.
me as a player
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, Cobweb just sort of like listens to the suggestion, just sort of shrugs and says, "I have to be honest, I don't know. This is why I came to you guys. I was kind of hoping you'd have more of an idea of how to deal with this."
Yeah, but this is how we start off, and it works out 9 out of 10. Well, so far 10 out of 10 times.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, how many times have we done it now?
Don't keep track. It's a bad idea.
I mean, the thing is that without any more concrete information about the labyrinth, or what is the other name for it? The
Dreaming
like,
Vault.
there's
Dream-
not a lot that we can do to plan specifically.
Yeah.
Well, out
And
of
without
all
being-
of
and
my
without being
options, you're the only ones not banished to a vault, so I guess you're the best I've got.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna try something.
Well, okay, so we're appealing to Titania's curiosity. We're just gonna be like, hey, can we go into the vault and look for Puck? And she's gonna be like, yeah, sure, why not? And we're gonna find Puck, and we're gonna get out somehow.
That is
Yeah,
pretty much it.
let's do all of that except the part where you did an impression of Titania, because that will get you killed.
Well, obviously, I'm not gonna do an impression of someone in front of them that's distasteful.
I
when
know,
they
I'm
have the
just
power
making
to
sure
kill
that you
them.
know.
I'm not an idiot.
She
Well,
throws
I-
another
it
kind of
paper
seems
ball
like
at you.
it
How
sometimes,
about-
but hey,
We
stop doing
how
that.
how about we try and just for practice, let's try and apply the court's rules, just so we can start thinking about them.
But surely all we have to say to her is like, "Hi, can we go into the Can we go into the vault?"
Appeal to her first.
Oh yeah. You know what?
Already mistakes happen. It's that's why we need practice.
I think you know what. I don't need practice. I'm just not going to say anything.
Cobweb snorts.
Arya's trying not to say something. Anyway.
I want to make a little, like... I want to use minor illusion to make, like, a little, like, image of an angry bear behind the snowball, and I'm just gonna, like, gesture behind her.
I mean, I don't care.
Cobweb, even.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, I can kill a bear?
No, yeah, I want to make... Yeah.
Like, really easily?
No, yeah, I want to make a minor illusion of, like, a release of, like, a, you know, a cobweb-sized bear behind Cobweb, and then just point behind her.
She just sort of like looks behind her, like is like momentarily startled, just turns back and is like, "And what?"
You might want to consider who you're trying to trick next time.
Hey, what? I got a startled reaction. I'll take it.
But that's it. Okay, so we're gonna send. I'm gonna send someone out to get food. We're gonna need food. Do you eat food? Cobweb? What kind of food do you eat?
She just like folds her arms, like looks at you with an eyebrow raised, and she's like, "Are you serious?"
Look,
You should have seen him in the Shadow Dark. You should have seen him in the Shadowfell like, earlier.
I don't know. Like,
Yes,
Look,
of course
Faye-
I eat.
yeah, but like, do you eat like the same food as us, or do you eat like, I don't know, like
Hey,
berries?
Buddy, I'm basically you, but smaller, okay?
Hey, buddy, is
Hey,
very
buddy.
good.
Also, I'd like to point
And I'm
out...
basically you, but better.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I would like to point out, Grim, as well. You eat them. Do you eat something else like berries? As if we don't eat berries.
Yeah, but like, you know, like we wouldn't just hack berries. It's like, but like I was just
Look,
trying
just-
to think of something edible that like that might
Just get
grow
me
in
whatever
the
you're gonna
forest.
eat, and I'll eat it, but I'll eat less of it because I'm smaller.
I love Cobweb.
Well,
See, this is
Oh.
exactly why I don't like the idea of letting Grim doing the talking, but no one else is any good at it. So we kind of don't have a choice.
well, besides, I don't
Unless,
need to
unless
be
you
on
want to
my.
talk Cobweb.
I don't have to be on my best behavior here.
Cobweb like turns to you and says, "Do you really think that's a good idea?"
Given what Grim has just said right there, honestly, it sounds better already.
Hmm.
Oh wait, I'm breaking the compliment rule now, aren't I? Or am I?
I don't even know.
I don't know either.
Well, that's why
Wait.
I'll do
I
it.
meant it as a compliment.
But it doesn't. Well, like you said before, it doesn't really matter what you mean, right? It's like what you say.
I meant it as a compliment because I'm trying to imply that you're better at talking to people than Grim is.
And yet,
Probably.
they've pissed off the fake word more often than I have.
Yeah, Cobweb like sort of says, "Look, I get that you may have only just met me, but in case it wasn't obvious, Puck and I don't exactly have the best relationship with the court. He was tolerated, and I was tolerated because he was tolerated, if that makes sense."
Okay.
Wow.
I guess we're stuck with Grim then.
Honestly, probably the only reason they didn't banish me too is because they didn't have a reason to, so...
Well, let's not try and give them one, I guess.
Yeah, which is why you're going to be doing the talking.
Say, how quickly do they try and execute people?
That depends.
Well, if things go wrong,
Well,
Elizabeth, I'll tell you when to pull us out if you can. Although they might stop you from doing that, but
Yeah. That's
we'll
what
keep
I'm
on
worried about.
trying.
You do realize I can only try that 3 times, right?
Well, like, yeah, but if you're clever enough, you might be able to deceive them.
Yeah, me, deceive the
Oh,
master
also, I
deceivers.
still have. If we all hug, I have a bead of. I think I have a singular bead of force left.
Oh my god.
Are you suggesting we just get in a beat of force and roll out of the fate?
Just fucking
I'm
roll out.
suggesting-
I
I was
can't believe you're
suggesting
gonna
we-
4-man zorb your way out of the Fey Courts.
No, what I was suggesting is we get in the orb and then we teleport from the orb.
Oh, because it's opaque.
That was what I was suggesting.
That's
I
a
like
much
the
better
idea
idea.
of rolling away like some sort of like bionicle.
But yeah,
Like,
I
let's
suppose
just go.
I suppose if they decide they want to execute us, we could theoretically escape by everyone holding hands and I can teleport us out.
Yeah, but counterspell.
That's why you're going to put down the beat of force.
Yes, that's what I. Well, I think okay. We were thinking the same thing, but like, I think it just that's fine.
Look, all we're saying is we have a plan if things go that wrong.
Yeah. Also, there's one problem with us rolling out the orb. Even with all of us in it, it only weighs like 10 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's
We're not
super
going to be able
heavy.
to ram open the door.
I thought it was like 1 pound.
Oh, is it 1 pound? Well, it doesn't matter. We weigh nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically anyone could pick us up, even though all of us are in it.
Okay.
Cobweb could pick us up.
Fine. We need to find more of those beads. Those beads are the best thing in history.
They are pretty good.
I think at this point, like, Cobweb just like basically like walks back like over to the book, like tries to like push herself up and like sit on the book again, tries a couple of times, gives up and goes, look, sounds like we have at least a vague plan, but I don't know about the rest of you, but I am bushed.
Yeah, do you need somewhere to sleep?
I mean, I can kind of sleep anywhere, but if you have somewhere, it'd be nice.
Well, I guess we all have a room.
Also, well, I'm sure that even though it's a little oversized, we have a spare blanket or something along those lines. Oh.
She thinks about this for a moment, turns to Arya, points at Arya and goes, I want to sleep in her room.
That's fine. I don't really use my bed anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, her bed gets used by a giant by a dire wolf, if you're okay with that.
Even better.
Even
Yeah. There you go.
You know what? Fucking same combo.
Yeah, I didn't think you know what? I didn't think she'd be deterred by that, and I can't blame her.
I mean, considering Lyra is also a fae,
Yeah.
they'd probably get along.
Yeah, probably.
I think I'll just I'll tell I'm gonna tell who should I tell? Well, I'll find someone who can get us some rations for tomorrow, and then we'll just send out some errand.
Did you say I'm gonna tell Vondal as if he hasn't been stood in the corner this whole time?
Oh yeah, like I realized.
he just like
and I was
waves, is like, hey.
But you know, he hasn't had input in some time. Just disappears in the background.
I was just kind of watching all of this, whatever this is, happen.
But like when yeah,
Chaos,
it's fine.
I believe is the word you're
But I was trying to do a little more big picture here because I feel like we're rounding up the scene a little.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get someone to get us, let's say, 2 weeks worth of rations, so we have some time in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Like
I
actually,
will remind you, you do have magical means to create food if you need it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
Spell slots.
spell slots and poor food quality, or at least flavor.
Okay. You know, look, it's
Wow.
better than not eating, okay?
Yeah. Look,
Yes, but
Fix.
Like, if we really
Also, you
desperately
say
need
that,
food,
like-
we're okay.
Also, you say that like, you know, the kind of ration food has much flavor anyway.
But, like, I don't know if you've had like dried meats, nuts, and
Yeah,
dried fruit.
Yeah.
It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it is.
Dried fruits,
Yeah.
sure, but like hard biscuits, they're probably not going to taste it much.
I mean, I will remind you that salami is literally invented as like a travel ration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Gross.
But yeah, I don't.
What
like
is wrong with salami?
Well, I don't eat meat at all. So.
Oh yes, fair point.
I was like, Luka doesn't.
You and me
There
were
you go.
about to have a fight, and then I was like, okay.
I cannot believe.
There you go. We finally had it, guys. You can mark that off of your cliche checklist. We just asked the vegetarian why they don't eat meat.
I forgot briefly that Luka is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
To be fair, so did I.
It doesn't come up super often, to be fair.
No.
It doesn't.
No.
I just like
No.
to. I just like Rob's like, I'm gonna fight you, and I'm like, why?
Honestly, I think that like all that means is that you're not a true vegetarian. You're not rubbing it in our faces.
Wow.
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
you're thinking of.
Oh, that's the stereotype.
That's vegan.
First of all, that's the stereotype.
Oh,
Second
that's
of all,
vegan,
Yeah,
that's
the
true.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the vegan stereotype.
I can never be vegan. I love dairy way too much.
Yeah.
I could never be vegetarian because I don't like any of the other options that give me protein.
Anyway, shall we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're gonna send out. We're gonna get 2 weeks worth of rations because we like proper food.
Yeah.
Wow.
Insult intended. No.
I feel like I feel like that was a dig.
See who's gonna give you fucking food if I have to make it with a spell.
Anyway,
Yeah, look, I would appreciate the spell food.
but like you're gonna appreciate real food more.
Well, it's
carry
fine.
on.
Yes. And then do we need any other supplies? I don't think we do.
You can get more chalk probably. Just in
Oh yeah.
case.
I'll, like chalk is always good.
Grim and
I
his
mean-
chalk is the real OTP of this.
You
whole
you
series.
you are
True.
currently living on a building site, so I do not believe it will be difficult to get your hands on chalk.
Yeah.
But it costs money. It's like a whole
Also-
copper piece per piece of chalk.
God.
Yeah.
Grim just
Okay.
walks up to the builder supplies, takes some chalk, and then leaves without saying anything.
Hey, it's his building site. He can do what he wants.
I don't know if you
I-
you guys have
I was-
anything that.
I was just more imagining Grim walking around and like seeing a builder discard a piece of chalk, like, "Hey, I picked copper for that."
I pay a whole copper for that. Turns around and gives a silver to a random woman who told him the name of the village.
Anyway,
Well, next time we come back, that woman is gonna remember us, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
she's gonna fucking walk in the other direction. She's gonna be like, I do not want to deal with them
Yeah.
again.
she remembers you and immediately performs a 180 and heads back into the house and waits until you leave.
Nope.
exactly.
Honestly, I am more not surprised that
She'll see us
more
in her head.
people
We'll
don't
just
have
play
a bad view of us because sometimes the shit we do.
it. Yeah.
Well, like there's worse things.
That woman will see Grim and just instantly, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Man,
Anyway,
you really don't like people asking questions, do you?
Well, I'm sorry, but if I lived in a place and someone just walked up to me and was like, "Hey, yo, what's this place called?" I too would get very, very awkward and not quite know what to say. Just
okay. Rounding this up. So you are gonna take a long rest, get some supplies, and you will be level 18.
Yes.
Hey.
Somehow we made it there. Like, man, I feel like
Right.
we're leveling all the time at this point. Even
oh,
I
got over
totally-
that. We got over that really big uphill climb section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, levels. What was it? Levels 1 to 5 is like super quick,
Yeah,
and then
D&D
5
leveling is a bell curve.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
5 to like 11 was like.
Well, I think like there's always us just jamming in like 10 sessions of pure RP and no combat.
Yes.
Like-
yeah.
We could, go fight something, but what if we talked about it?
At this point, we
What
might
if
as
we
well.
talked about everything instead?
Yeah.
What if we just talked about our feelings for a little
At this
bit?
point, our next
Or if
D&D
you're Arya, not talk about your feelings for 10
Or
sessions.
not talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
I talked
You
about
know.
my feelings more than I had in a long time, alright?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like you've talked more about your feelings in the last 3 sessions than every other session before that combined.
Yep.
That's not true. That's not true because Arya and Kelariis have had conversations
Oh,
We
about
have had
feelings.
sorry.
conversations about our
Yes.
feelings.
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
The bros have had conversations. They just weren't
bros!
public.
Yeah.
Like there was also I can't remember what, but there was at one point Graham and Arya had like a somewhat feelings conversation. It was very mild, but
Oh yeah, what was that even about?
I
don't
can't remember anymore. But
Yeah. At this point, we might as well just do a whole D&D campaign that is pure RP.
It's basically what this campaign is. So
I mean,
Yeah.
if I was going to do a campaign, I would not run it D&D because D&D is incredibly combat oriented.
Well, yeah.
I would run a proper full RPG, but
Mhm.
yeah, fair enough.
Lots of options.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Bringing an end to this D&D session.
yes, with a PSA that you can play things that aren't D&D. There are other great
Shock.
games out there.
There are many other ones, yeah.
Yep.
This stream not sponsored by Wizards of the Coast.
God, I wish they would sponsor us. Give us that money. Come on.
I would recommend, I would recommend
Yeah.
Savage Worlds if you want to have a system that can easily adapt to literally any universe you can think of.
There are a lot of systems
Yeah.
that can do that, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know, but Savage Worlds is a good one, and it's the only other one I know. So, I can only. I can speak from
That's
experience on
extensively not true because we have definitely played other systems.
yeah, I was
Well,
like,
okay,
no,
no.
that's really not
We played-
correct.
Okay, yeah, look, we've played other systems, but what I'm saying is, Savage Worlds
Anyway.
is a system that I've played, and it does very well adapting to other universes.
With that plug, thank you all for watching, thank you all for playing, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.